Okay, it's Sunday again, and we have a game lined up. 3,000 points this time. Si's got an inkling to do an Empire army, so he's using some of my models and some of his, just to get the models on the board so we can have as few proxies as possible.
One of mine.
One of his models.
One of my Empire models.
He does own my Empire models. Unfortunately, they're sitting in a box on a sprue, probably.
Well, they're sat in boxes hidden away in corners of my mum's house that I can't get to at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. So it's got the obligatory clan rat proxies, which I think I've seen action in all of his armies so far.
Oh, yes.
Except maybe the Skaven army, because they usually count as slaves. Yeah, so it's 3,000 points. It's battle line. We've actually decided to use the official rules for placing terrain. Sorry, I've got that cough. Yeah, so we're actually doing the proper rules for terrain. Obviously, our discussions about cannons and stuff. But just in general, and Si's painted up this beautiful watchtower. I thought we'd try and use it. So I'm sure I'll show you more of that in a minute. Yeah, so 3,000 points. We're using the proper terrain, rolled 7, took it turns to place them. They're obviously mysterious, so we don't know what they do yet. The Dark Elves, run you through them. We have 5 Dark Riders. I actually have the models for these, I just haven't stuck them to the horses. I've been swapping over the horses for the... because the old ones, I don't know, they just look a bit silly, so I've been sticking them on the Wood Elf horses. I think they just look better. Obviously there's new models for them, but I'm trying to keep this army cheap at the moment. So, actual Dark Riders on the said horses will be counted as Warlocks this game, just because I have 2 units of these, so I'm just using orders for those. Yeah, so 5 Warlocks, a Hero on a Pegasus, 10 Crossbowmen, a Hydra, 10 Cold Knights, 10 more Crossbowmen with a level 2 Dark Magic, 30 Witches with a Cauldron of Blood and a Hag. There's no characters in there. 29 Blackguard with my level 4 of Life, who's also the General. And then 5 more Dark Riders. And so for spells, I got all the, well, I'll say all the good ones. I haven't really got all the good ones. I've got Throne of Vines, no, sorry, those are the ones I haven't got. Flesh to Stone, Earthblood. I don't know where I put them. I'll run you through those later. I'm sure you'll find out what I've got. But yeah, so I've got level 2 of Dark Magic, level 4 of Life, and the 2 spells on the Warlocks. So that's pretty much it. So I'll hand you over to Si now and see what he's got.
So in my army, we have a unit of 5 Outriders. I have 5 Right Scarred Knights with a Warrior Priest. I have 10 handgunners. I wish I had 3 Skull Crushers, but they are duly proxying for Demigryph Knights. And then over here I have a unit of 40 Great Swords with a Warrior Priest in my BSB, and a detachment of Halberdiers. Of course, naturally the Halberdiers. They're not Skaven and the odd High Elf. I have to excuse that. Then we have a Hellblaster Volley Gun, a Celestial Hurricanum, a unit of 50 Halberdiers with a Light Wizard and a Empire Captain, another unit of Empire Halberdiers, actually more that have halberds. They are some very old school Dark Elf Halberdiers, some old Blackguard. Then I have another unit of 10 handgunners, 1 Great Cannon, and a unit of 10 archers. So you can basically see that I have not taken a steam tank, because they usually blow up for me. So I won't bother.
Yeah, and only 1 cannon.
Yes, 1 cannon and 1 Hellblaster, because I don't want to give Ollie too many victory points. So yeah, with that in mind, Ollie rolled to see who goes first. As he finished deploying first, he rolled a 6 with his +1. I couldn't beat that. So we will see you at the end of Dark Elves turn 1.
Okay, it's the end of Dark Elves turn 1. So I passed my stupidity test, which was nice. And I vanguarded up some guys. So I vanguarded up the all the fast cav, just the Dark Riders there, Orcs there, other Dark Riders to there. And then no charges, and then the movement I moved up to here with those Dark Riders, there with those, left the Warlocks there. Then the magic phase, rolled pretty well, rolled 2 4s and then got a channel, so I had 9 to size 4. Cast Throne of Vines, which silent through. Then I cast Word of Pain, my level 2, and rolled a 6 and 2 5s, which was really nice, and then signed off 4 1s to dispel it. So it did actually go through. And that was just to reduce the ballistic skill of the Hellblaster, which I reduced to ballistic skill 1 now, so that's quite nice. And then with my last dice I attempted to cast a Doom Bolt on those Right Guard Knights, but unfortunately I rolled a too low to cast it. Then in the shooting phase, my Dark Riders managed to kill one of these guys. The crossbowmen in here managed to kill another one. These crossbowmen shot the Hellblaster, got 4 hits on it but no wounds. Then these guys drilled a couple of archers, but not enough to cause a panic test. So that was a bit not so good. And obviously there's no close combat, so that's the end of Dark Elves turn 1.
Okay, it's the end of Empire turn 1. There was one charge, which was going to be the Right Guard Knights versus his Warlocks. The Warlocks decided to flee, so the Right Guard unfortunately failed the charge. Wasn't a problem though, made them flee. He passed his leadership test over his hero as they bounced through him. Everyone else moved up, they moved into the watchtower. Everyone else sort of just moved up along there. These guys turned around, shot at his Dark Riders, killed 3 of them. Then what else we got? The magic phase was pretty good. Even though I rolled double 2, I got 1 for the Hurricaneum, and I got 1 with a channel. So with 6 dice versus Ollie's 2, I cast Fast Protection on the Swordmasters. Sorry, the Great Swords. They're nowhere near Swordmasters. Which also benefits the detachment. And then I cast Net of Amentok on the Blackguard, which means that any time they want to move or cast a spell for his wizard, they have to pass a strength test. So I know what Ollie's like for rolling 4-ups. He ain't never going to pass any of that. Oh, that's the hope at least. Then in the rest of the shooting phase, the Hockland long rifle on there with points to burn. I shot his hag and wounded her. Then with the cannon, I actually didn't blow up. I hit the thing, although Ollie passed his ward save for both the hag and the altar of Cain. When with no more shooting, it wasn't worth shooting this. There's no point risking blowing it up for, I think 7s or 8s to hit. So yeah, there's absolutely no point with that. So with that, yeah, we called it quits. So yeah, that was the end of my turn. Quite happy with it. And yeah, we'll see what happens at end of Dark Elf turn 2.
Okay, so it's the end of Dark Elves turn 2. So I passed the stupidity test on these guys again. Obviously I'm going to fail it when it really counts, when I need them to charge something. But for now they're alright. I charged the Dark Riders, which conveniently reduced to 2 last turn. So it gave me just enough room to squeeze past those archers to charge into the cannon, which was nice. So I did that. There was no other charges. These guys rallied. These guys moved up to shoot at the Outriders. These guys moved back a bit because I still don't fancy fighting those Demigryphs / Skull Crushers, or Demi-Crushers. Yeah, so these guys are pretty much as they are. These guys didn't move at all, so obviously the net of Ammontok. So then we went to Magic and I rolled double 6, which is obviously I was going to roll when I've got a Strength 3 Wizard with a net of Ammontok on. So with those I threw 6 with Doombolt and rolled really well. I rolled enough. I rolled the big one. And then so I threw 8 dice at it and dispelled it. But then with my other 6 dice I threw 3 at her other spell, which was the Word of Pain, to reduce the ballistic skill of the Hellblaster again. So I obviously couldn't dispel it. He could have scrolled it, but he decided not to. And then the other 3 dice I risked it with my level 4. Managed to pass my strength test and got off Flesh to Stone on these guys, reasoning that if I got it off, then, well, actually, if I got it off, I wouldn't have had to take the strength 4 hits anyway, would I? So, but yeah, I managed to get it off. So, so they're now toughness 7, and with the Law attribute, I managed to heal the hag up. So this can take another cannonball to the face now. Should be fine. So that was that. And then in the shooting phase, these guys managed to pick off 2 Right Guard Knights against all the odds. These guys managed to drill the Outriders, which was definitely in the realms of possibility. These guys managed to pick off 3 Greatswords, and then in close combat the Dark Riders managed to kill the cannon crew, or one of them, and they broke and consequently were destroyed. So that was the end of Dark Elves turn 2, so pretty happy with that. Have to see what happens in Size turn 2.
Okay, it's the end of Empire turn 2. Not a particularly amazing turn. In my backline is Sonic Crumble. There were no charges. Everyone moved up that could. Although I'm starting to see that deploying putting the Hellblaster in between my 2 hordes was a good idea. I'm starting to think that was less of a good idea now. Then, yeah, everyone sort of moved up. Magic phase, Ollie managed to shut it down. Only got Files Protection off. He's timely use of a Dispel Scroll. Pretty much shut down what I planned. Then, what else was there? And in the shooting phase, absolutely whiffed shooting at those guys. I managed to kill 1. But yeah, rolled terribly. Like 3 hits and 1 wound, which was pretty terrible. So yeah, with that, there was no shooting over here. It just boiled down to close combat, which I lost. Seems that unfortunately my cavalry never do anything when I choose these situations. They get mercilessly raped by like 1 rat or something ridiculous. But yeah, all these 2 Dark Riders are having the time of their lives. Somehow. And yeah, they're just he got in. He did get into a very good position. Will add, but unfortunately, yeah, I wasn't able to do anything against it. The flank shot failed my steadfast and fled. He's an inch behind me with his go now. So yeah, it's not looking particularly great. Because I haven't managed to find my Hellblaster, that's pretty much points in the bag for him. So yeah, with that, I don't know what to do. So I'll have to sit and have a think. But yeah, it's really not looking that particularly great. Although, well, back here it isn't. It's looking still pretty good over here.
Yeah,
can't be negative. There's some butchery potential in there, so yeah, we'll see what happens in Dark Elf turn 3.
Okay, so it's the end of Dark Elves turn 3, and that was pretty eventful. So I got decided that these guys were close enough. I was actually going to attempt some average charges, maybe even less in fact. So I went for it. I charged the Blackguard into his halberdiers and the Witch Elves into his halberdiers, so that was good. I moved these guys up to redirect the Great Swords. The way it would have worked out prior to this getting in here, if they had charged them, they wouldn't have quite clipped them when they'd beaten them, and it would have overrun past them. Well, assume they'd overrun if that was the greedy form, and then they'd have the problem next turn, which they probably would have because the BSB's in there. So, but at least it would have held them up for a turn, so it was worth sacrificing a load of crossbowmen for. As it turns out, it didn't matter. These guys passed for stupidity again. Of course, don't need them, so that's why they passed. He's still sitting behind the building. These guys moved around to harass his Right Side Knights. The Dark Riders declared a charge into these guys, which of course they had to flee because they're already fleeing. Then I attempted to misdirect and unfortunately failed it, otherwise I would have charged the Hellblaster. Now they're probably going to eat Hellblaster sandwich, so that's not nice. So that was it for that. Then in the magic phase, I had a bit of a doozy. I rolled, was it 10 dice in total?
Yes.
Yeah.
10.
So I threw 3 at Earthblood and got an irresistible force, which ordinarily I'd be crying and then probably throwing myself out the window. But I did actually have a Throne of Vines, so I ignored the miscast on a 2-up and got it through. And then I attempted to cast Flesh to Stone with these guys, on these guys. And I threw 6 dice at it rather riskily, but of course it's still at the throne. And I ignored the miscast for that as well. So I got both spells off that I wanted, and so I couldn't do anything about it. Although to be fair, so you had dice left over, didn't you?
Yeah, that's
so that's
spell
the Flesh to Stone. Not the Flesh to Stone, the Throne of Vines.
Yeah, I mean,
might as well because
the 6 dice I had.
Yeah, plenty of dice.
Spelled.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, so that's that. And then the shooting phase, I fight these guys and the Dark Riders, and these guys did nothing. Although actually, I did actually put a wound on the Warrior Priest, so that's quite handy. These crossbowmen just drilled these guys because they had nothing else to do. It turns out they might actually live now. They still keep on 2 of them. And then in close combat, that's when it all happened. So these 2 units went into the halberdiers. And as you can see, I killed
37 halberdiers there, and 13 halberdiers there.
And took 4 casualties in return, which was pretty sick. So yeah, because these guys had a 4-up regen, and these guys were toughness 7, so and it was just brutal. So my hag, the impact hits happened first, then my hag went and put all attacks on his general and killed him outright with 4 poison attacks.
3 poison.
That was 4 poison. So 5 attacks.
Yeah, you got 3 poisons and a wound.
No, it's 4 poisons. I don't even think I rolled for the other one.
Was it 4? I thought you only rolled 3.
Yeah, it was 4. Well, I rolled 4 6s and a. So either way,
it was enough. It was enough poisons. That
I maybe rolled it in. Sorry. Yeah. So either way, it didn't end well for his wizard. Obviously, being an Empire wizard and so being quite stingy with Empire characters, which is totally what you should be doing. You don't want to buy him a ward save because he's just going to die anyway. So you didn't buy him a ward save, did you?
God no.
Yeah, because when your wizard's in combat, it's not good anyway. So. Yeah, so his wizard dies, and then between my Witch Elves and my Blackguard, I, like I say, butchered, exactly 50 halberdiers in total, which is, you can't really knock. So, yeah, because obviously I had rerolls to hit and rerolls to wound, and they're practically indestructible, these 2 units, with those 2 buffs on, so that was never going to end well. So I passed his panic test for this, managed to get away with both the units. These guys are still above 25%, so they can still potentially rally. These guys, they can still rally as well, so you've still got the points on the table. Unfortunately, the archers did actually panic, and the Witch Elves overran into the Great Swords. which is the way it works because they overrun like that. So, which is mixed emotions, but at least I've still got the buff up for his turn. So,
which is going to serve me well because I basically can't touch you.
Yeah, and I'm going to have problems against him because he's obviously got 4 up armour save and I'm strength 3. So, and he's stubborn, so that's going to be a bit of a push, I reckon. We'll have to see what happens in size turn 3. So,
it's the end of Empire turn 3. Right, some charges. I charged the Demigryphs at the cold ones. Managed to get all these guys back. Magic phase, basically, I moved that out of the way. The magic phase, I managed to get off a battle prayer, which gave me rerolls to wound, which I needed as good as I could get against the Witch Elves. But it didn't really do much, as the Witch Elf killed basically a big pile of guys, which is, I think he killed about 20 guys, roughly. And then, yeah, I think I killed about 5 or 6 Witch Elves in return. So really the Flesh to Stone being the absolute dominant factor in that combat, as I would have at least managed to do a lot of damage to him back. So yeah, with that, I then managed to kill 2 guys over there, not take any wounds, so it was enough to break him, although I couldn't catch him. I am at least chasing him off the board. Cheers. So yeah, with that, it's really down to how much Ollie can clear up the battlefield now. So we'll now get on to Dark Elf turn 4. No point.
okay, so it's the end of Dark Elf's turn 4. So I moved the. In fact, there was no. Oh yeah, I charged the Blackguard at his remaining halberdiers, and he elected to flee. So I went into the Hellblaster instead. These guys, still fighting. These guys just turned around, the sorceress joined them. The Dark Riders over here rallied and just moved over here. The Hydra moved around to face the back rear of the Demigryphs. This guy moved around to potentially keep his charge arc. The Warlocks moved behind here. These guys managed to rally. Nice of them. And that was it. Then in close magic, I rolled 8 dice to size 4 or 5. And I 6 diced a Doom Bolt, yep, into these guys, and only managed to kill the Warrior Priest and 3 of them, so there's 1 left. But I did miscast and kill a Warlock. So, and then with I didn't bother with the last 2 dice because I still had 5 left. So, then in the shooting phase, these guys fired at this guy, did nothing. These guys couldn't fire because they don't actually have a musician, and these guys couldn't either, or they just didn't. And then in close combat, we did this combat. I killed the Hellblaster and overran, and did actually touch the remaining Halberdiers, which killed them. And then in this combat, I butchered a load more great swords. Then in return, he killed a few of my Witch Elves. I won the combat, but he's stubborn and he held. And that was it. So, and at this point, Size decided to concede as the hour is late, and there's not really much in the way of combat units left, and we're kind of like quickly adding up the points. I've scored a fair few now. Obviously mopping up the remaining Halberdiers. We've got the Hellblaster. This unit's not long for this world. These guys, I could probably take out this guy through shooting or charging. But yeah, so there's not a great deal left. We've still got these Demigryphs, who, to be fair, could probably kill most of my army by themselves, but there's just not enough time for them to do it. Just got to get through these cold ones. So yeah, so he's decided to concede there, which is fair enough. A really good game. very enjoyable. As he hasn't played Empire in a long time. I think the last time we played him, he had an all cav list, so it's quite a change for him to have all infantry. And I certainly haven't played much of my Dark Elves, so it's been fun trying them out. I'm certainly enjoying the Horde of Blackguard. I've had some debate whether I should have Blackguard or Executioners. On paper, I like Blackguard much better because they've got 2 attacks. They also got rerolls to hit most of the time because they're initiative 6. So, and these guys actually have the Razor standard, so they're pretty good at killing stuff. And as long as they're within 6 of that, they've got rerolls to wound as well. So, wounding's not a problem, it's just getting through armour. So I've been debating whether to use those or Executioners. I like the models for Executioners, but I don't really like Executioners in terms of they've only got 1 attack, they don't get rerolls to hit, and they're only initiative 5. So I'm still not sure about that, but so far the Blackguard are performing really well. I just like them. And the Witch Elves in there is probably the most obvious thing to put with the Cauldron, but they really do some horrible things, particularly to lower initiative guys. I think one of the pivotal moments in the game was when I actually got rid of his initiative 10, weapon skill 10 with a scroll. The time I wasn't too sure, but I'm really glad I scrolled that now, because it would have meant the Witch Elves were hitting them on 5 without a reroll, which would have blunted the attack quite significantly, so really glad of that. Yeah, and the cold ones fail horribly, but then they got charged by demigryphs, which are scary, so yeah, so not too bothered about them. Although on the plus side, the Gleaming Pennant I gave them really paid off. Best 5 points you could spend if you've got a magic banner to use, especially when they operate outside the BSB's range. So, but yeah, really glad I took that. What else? The Dark Riders are excellent. They really get behind his stuff. I think it took Side by surprise when I moved them up and got around the side of his Outriders, because I must admit even I didn't think of it until it actually happened. But just getting around the flank like that straight away is quite scary. And as they're fast cav, they're pretty good at shooting even after moving. So the Warlock's really good. Just the threat of a big Doom Bolt is quite scary. This guy didn't do anything, but I was planning to charge him into the demigryphs because he's got the Cloak of Twilight and a lance. So I think he can really mess those guys up, but never actually happened. Yeah, so the crossbow shooting was pretty good. Those Dark Riders over there were legends. They were just really annoying for him, I think. They killed hand gunners, they killed a cannon, they killed a couple of archers, and then he died in the end because they took a face full of Hellblaster. So, but yeah, pretty happy with the list. The tactically, I think, well, I say tactics, but I think when the double charge on the Halberdier units is really what swung the game. I think Si's got some thoughts on that in terms of his, the way he moved up. So I'll let him go through that. But really, getting both those units into those Halberdiers just destroyed them. Even with the detachment in there, I killed 50 Halberdiers in one round of combat, which you're just not going to walk away from. And especially as I only took 4 casualties in return. That magic phase as well, just amazing. I mean, to be fair, that is only one unit that killed him, but the overrun into the Greatswords. The Greatswords just outmatched, as I still had. Sorry about that, the camera died, so I just had too much stuff on the memory card. Yeah, so the overrun into the Greatswords, I mean, that hurt him pretty bad, because he obviously had the Flesh to Stone up, so the first round of combat he fought me, I was toughness 7. So he just did nothing in return. So really that combat was pretty one-sided. His 4-up armour helped him quite well. Unfortunately, Sai being Sai, only actually saved I think 6 out of 18 wounds with his 4-up armour save. So the damage I did was just was just too big. So even when the following turn came, he'd lost too many guys at that point. So even when I was toughness 3, he just did relatively little in return. I think of like 4 or 5 guys, so he was never going to come back from that. So we stubborn all he wants, but if I kill them all, then it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that was quite unfortunate. But yeah, so I mean, those 2 units, like I said, I'd rather have the Blackguard attacking the Greatswords, because it's got an armour piercing banner, so that would have been quite a nice fight. and these guys against the halberdiers, because obviously they've got little armour. So yeah, plus they've got the extra attacks as well. So that would have been ideal, but obviously it was the other way around. But as it turns out, because the great swords, like Si said, is about to talk about, if they weren't lined, if they were lined up with these other guys, like flush with them, then that would have been a much, it would have been a much harder fight for me, because obviously I would have had to pretty much fight them head on, matching them up perfectly. So the fact I could charge both those units into those halberdiers was just massive. So maybe a bit of a mistake on Si's part, but it's the best way to learn, isn't it? So, but yeah, it was pretty satisfying killing 50 halberdiers in one round of combat. So I'm very happy with that. Big fan of that cauldron, and it seems to be really good with the witch elves as well, especially with toughness 7. So. Yeah, so happy with the list I've made. Pretty, like I say, I really prefer the Blackguard over the Executioners, although I like the Executioner models better, so maybe that'll swing it, I don't know. But yeah, fun game. Well, now I actually have a painted army. I think that qualifies me to apologise for having unpainted stuff, so... But then if I didn't, if I just used painted stuff, then we'd be waiting at least another 3 years for me to get it all done. So you're probably going to see still some unpainted games, but we are much more motivated than we used to be to paint stuff. Thanks to Mr. Reef, and he's shown me with his beautifully painted armies. So I decided to get my finger out and get some armies painted. So I will be, after this game, when Si's gone, I'm going to be painting some Savage Orcs. So yeah. So I'll hand you over to Si now, see what his views on the game were, and that's it. So hand you over now.
Yeah, well, like Ollie said, very good game. I had a bit of a problem, I think, in that when I deployed, I made the hideous mistake of putting the Hellblaster volley gun between my two hordes. Because my original plan was basically to march the hordes up right next to each other, and I kind of suspected that Ollie would probably want to back up slightly to give him the optimum charge. And really, I think unless I was playing orcs, at least if I was playing against orcs, I was probably going to be going last, or at least at the same time as him anyway. So I kind of figured that the best thing to let him do would be to charge me anyway. So the plan was really to get up in his face and then counter-charge with my detachments into his flank in order to have best chance of breaking his steadfast. So that was kind of the plan, and originally I was then going to use cavalry to harry the flanks and take care of sort of smaller things. But yeah, unfortunately, I made a big mistake, which was evident after turn 1, where I'd seen how the Swordmasters had sort of, while the big horde sort of ran sort of parallel with the board edge, I was sort of they were in fact pretty much in that position there. So at the angle they were at, they were never there to threaten. And I must admit, I'd actually, the way I thought the Witch Elves went into the flank of the Halberdiers, which obviously would have been even worse. But yeah, I'd sort of seen that and thought, yeah, and yeah, it was pretty inevitable. I must admit, I didn't think he was going to do quite that amount of damage, but that is the awesome power of that altar of that bloody Cauldron of Blood. Yeah. And I think it is a hell of a lot better than the old one. Hell of a lot better.
Well, I like the old one because it gave me the 5-up ward and the killing blow or the +1 attack for free and for a lot less points.
Yeah, but now at least with them you get a 5-up ward and you get rerolls to wound.
Yeah.
So it's pretty flipping good.
Yeah, I think the Witch Elves are essential with it.
Yeah, there just doesn't seem any point sticking it with anything else. It really is a great unit. It's got a 4-up ward save, so you know it's got a good chance of saving itself.
6 with 5 wounds.
Yeah, I mean, essentially it's a Skaven
And the beautiful thing,
plague furnace.
even if you lose it, you know, even though it dies, it's still got a pretty decent unit there.
Yeah. I mean,
Witch elves are still pretty scary.
yeah. They are. I mean, and like I think the Ollie took maximum advantage of how I deployed. Played it really well. I wouldn't say there was any particularly bad luck here and there. I mean, all right, I did roll like a bitch in a few places, but it didn't really affect the game. I think it was...
The only thing I would have liked was the Witch Elves against the Halberdiers initially, and the Black Guard against these guys, which I would have happily fought one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's just that way round, I didn't really rate either of their chances against the...
Yeah, I mean, it sort of the idea was to get them in there, Celestial Hurricane them, to award them the +1 to hit, so I was at least hitting on a 3-up, and then using, and I was hoping, well, the spells I had, buffing their weapon skill up to 10, which meant that they'd get hit less, and he'd lose his rerolls to hit, which would be a pretty big thing.
Yeah, that would be massive.
So hitting on 5s with no reroll, where all of a sudden blunts his attack quite considerably.
Plus you would have been hitting on 3s
Well,
with a reroll.
I would have been hitting on 2s with a reroll.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Hit on 2s with a reroll and then wounding on 2s.
That's why Laura Light is so good.
Yeah. So that was
even against Witch Elves, you're hitting on 2s with a reroll.
That's it, and that was the big plan, because then I was pretty confident I'd smash the unit, hack them down, then really using the Halberdiers as an anvil against the Black Guard, and then basically bringing the great swords into trying to get them into the flank. Then just basically putting them down and holding them long enough, and then with his combat blocks done, I was kind of thinking that, well, that's pretty much much of the game.
Yeah, because that's most of my points though.
Yeah. So it was a good plan. I don't think I executed it particularly well. And Ollie played my magic phase very well. He scrolled when he absolutely should have done, which forced me not to use the prayers, because obviously he would have then dispelled them very, very easily. So I had to go for another more riskier manoeuvre, which I failed to then cast. And then he got the maximum out of his own magic phase, which was basically six dicing the flesh to stone, and obviously getting the ward save. I think if I'd thought about it, what I should have done was got rid of Throne of Vines and forced him to cast it and scroll it, which would then meant that his flesh to stone will be less effective, because they're only being toughness 5 rather than toughness 7, and obviously probably one of those, if he had miscast, it would have at the very least stunted his magic phase, perhaps even removed his wizard. So there was things I probably should have done there, but well, that's the trouble where hindsight is 100% active. So that's how it goes. But yeah, it was a good game. I was quite liking playing the Empire there. Got some nice stuff. I think I'll probably tweak the list. We were talking maybe getting rid of the warrior priests over there, and bringing in like 2 level 1 amber wizards. So with Law of Beasts, I think would be a good idea, because then +1 strength and toughness on unit Halberdiers shared with a detachment is massive. I mean, toughness 4, strength 5 with the Luminarch. Then all of a sudden they become powerhouses. Same with if I manage to get them off on there, all of a sudden they become awesomely destructive. Strength 6, toughness 4. I mean they're cutting through absolutely anything. That's even then when cold ones start getting worried about going anywhere near them.
Cold ones are scared of most things.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the Demigryph Knights.
Yeah, they're scary.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to pick up some as soon as possible.
Really nice models.
I do like the models. But as I sort of said to Ollie, I'm painting. I'm going to be finishing off my ogre army up to my required standard, and I'm also having some fun doing some bit of display painting on the side as well. And I'm really enjoying painting scenery at the moment as well. as I'm very, very pleased with my my watchtower. And I'll be picking up the current Games Workshop special offer of 3 pieces of scenery for £70. So you buy 2 pieces of scenery and you get Garden of Moor free, which is an absolute bargain. So yeah, I'll be having that for Christmas, and I dare say I will probably paint them frenziedly. And since 2 of them are towers, which will just basically get sprayed black and then dry brushed to within an inch of their lives. And I'm also going to do some work on this, because now this looks pretty crappily painted compared to the watchtower. So yeah, I've got lots of fun painting projects coming up. I need to work on my board as well, and then we can enjoy the wonders of fully painted armies on fully painted boards with fully painted scenery. So yeah, I'll be well up for that. I'll be like our old 40k days, back before they brought out 6th edition. So yeah, well, we will see what happens. Unfortunately for Christmas, we're going to be on a break for a couple of weeks, I dare say. But after the new year, we'll be both champing at the bit and desperate for a game. I dare say we'll both have some new painted stuff. Just showing I've got to work some on Christmas. So
yeah, man, I've got a lot of walks to paint.
Oh yes. So yeah, we'll with that we'll see you later, and have a good Christmas, everyone, and hope Santa brings many models, paints, and bits of scenery.